A lot of people. Exciting, exciting. We know a lot of people tend to be late, so we're going to start at about 3 minutes past. So give us about a minute and we'll get going. Cool, let's kick things off. So we're using a little bit of a different platform than we usually use. So I can't monitor questions whilst we're sort of doing the presentation. So we've got people on hand typing in questions, and then they'll feed me anything that I sort of need to answer at the end. But exciting, I have never seen our webinars fill up this quickly. So there's a lot of excitement. There's a lot of excitement for this product. We released a help doc on our website, and then within 24 hours, we were getting people reaching out to us asking to get access to this product that we hadn't even released yet. So everyone is super excited by this. So just to confirm, everyone can hear me and see me perfectly? Oh, perfect. So what we're going to cover off today is how can you increase your revenue with surge pricing. That's probably the crux of what we're going to answer today. We're going to walk through exactly how you can do that and how our new surge pricing product works. Before we jump into that, there is 2 buttons I just want you to be aware of. There's a little questions tab and there's a little chat tab. And I know there's means of chatting and sending messages in privately or publicly. So just use those, click on those, and I can see a lot of people coming on the chats and on the questions. So just use those. And as we're sort of going, any questions that you have or anything that I haven't covered off, just jot them in as we go. And then at the end, I'll circle back and I'll answer everything. If it's quick and easy, I know people on our team will be there. We've got quite a lot of people on our team actually to help with this webinar. So first of all, what is surge pricing? So does everyone remember this graph back when you were at university? I think this is Economics 101. But basically, you had this beautiful graph where you've got a supply on one side and demand on the other. And what you want to do as a business, as a small business, is make sure you're hitting this price equilibrium where the cost that you're charging meets the demand. And I want to just point out one interesting thing about a hotel that makes it completely different from any other business. You know, most businesses, when we talk about this, are selling a widget or a pen where they have the ability as when demand starts to increase, they get to increase the supply. But a hotel is completely different from any other business. You actually have a fixed supply. It's not like you can go out and build more rooms like that. So when demand increases, the only lever you actually have in order to make sure that you are still hitting that price equilibrium is to adjust your prices. And so this is what tends to happen with a lot of hotels. When demand surges, when demand goes up, a lot of hotels, a lot of our customers will keep their prices around the same, which means they're missing out on potential revenue. And I know that, you know, our customers are small businesses and you know, you need sort of every advantage you can get. And so what we have learned is that if you're not adjusting your price to match the new demand, you know, you're missing out. There's a price mismatch and you're missing out on revenue right there. And I know often large hotels in particular, they employ, you know, what they call revenue managers, and their whole job is to watch this like a hawk and basically adjust the prices. I know as demand starts to increase, you know, the big guys are all flexing their pricing to match that demand. And if you're not, you are potentially missing out on a lot of revenue. So what is surge pricing and how does the Preno surge pricing work? So basically, surge pricing is when you can automatically increase your prices as your occupancy change. So as demand is high and when customers are willing to pay more, you can charge them more. Even something as small as an extra $5 per booking really does make a huge difference. It does actually add up. If you've got sort of 10 rooms across 30 days, $5 extra per booking, that's about $1,500 a year. So that is a lot of, sorry, $1,500 a month, apologies. So that is a lot of money that you are missing out on. The second thing that surge pricing does is, if there's an event or conference or external activity, and in a lot of ways, sometimes hotels, you don't know why your rooms are getting booked out. And so having a tool that is monitoring all the time and saying, okay, yes, my demand's starting to increase, I'm starting to sell a lot of rooms, and making adjustments is a great way to sort of capitalize on that. I think I've had a look at some, spoken to some customers, and a lot of our sort of customers will look at what's happening this month, but they're not looking what's happening 6 months from now. And so Preno obviously is looking across the whole date range. In fact, we are looking, so this new product will look across 720 days of your bookings. So it will be looking on your off-season, your on-season rates, and sort of adjusting your prices accordingly. And so over the next, basically from today, 2 years into advance, that's when we were sort of looking. So just a quick show of hands, who here is looking at their prices on an hourly or daily basis and making adjustments? And who has been looking at all of their prices across sort of the 2-year time period? No time. That's a great comment, actually, because that's exactly what we're trying to solve here. We're trying to do it for you automatically. The other thing that happens that Preno's sort of doing, and this is probably the single biggest reason why we think we as Preno are probably the best to build this product, because we have real-time data on exactly what's going on with your hotel. So I know some tools will update multiple times a day, whereas Preno, our system is monitoring your occupancy rate in real time and making adjustments as soon as things happen. So we're working, our tools monitoring 24/7, 7 days a week, which is great, because that means basically when you're sleeping or when you're on holiday, when you're doing something else, we're making sure that you're not missing out on all that potential revenue that you might have got. And we know, I guess, between those two, I've got some case studies to share with you, but between those two, I think at this point, looking 2 years in advance and working 24/7, I mean, this is a pretty powerful product in terms of what it's doing for you. So what are some early results? So here's some early results from what some customers have managed to get from this product. The thing that absolutely blows my mind is that these results were received straight away, like within the first 2 weeks, which I was blown away by, because I thought, definitely with surge pricing, the product needs, the longer you use it, the more valuable it gets. But seeing it start adjusting people's prices straight away was amazing. So we've got 2 case studies to quickly share with you. The Pink Hotel Coolangatta over in Australia, in the first 2 weeks, it made almost 200 adjustments to the prices, which is crazy. And as you've sort of said, I've seen people say that they do it weekly, or they try and do it weekly, or try and do it monthly, but there's no way that within a 2-week period you could make 200 adjustments, micro adjustments here and there. So that is crazy. The other thing to point out is, they made on average, extra $19, $20 Australian D on those bookings they received after the changes were made. So that's pretty, that's not insignificant. That's a lot. So who here would be happy with an extra sort of $20 per booking? So the next example to give you is over in the UK. So Hotel de Sea, slightly bigger property, but again, even if you employed a revenue manager full-time, there is no way they would be making 650 adjustments to your rates in the first 2 weeks. And again, this is literally just the first 2 weeks, not even, the longer they use it, the more this product's being used in monitoring your bookings, the more adjustments it will make, and then the more money you will actually make out of the back of this. So on their bookings, they generate an extra sort of £10, which, these 2 case studies are roughly the same amount of money if you think about currency conversion. So that's just, I guess, early results. And honestly, by the end of the session, hopefully everyone will have set up their own dynamic pricing, surge pricing. And so, I'm looking forward to getting a lot more case studies like this, showing me exactly how much more money you guys are actually making from this. So the next question that we've had quite a lot is, can you use this now? Do you have access to this? And the answer is yes. So 90% of our customers, so I'm guessing most of you on here will have access to this already in your current plan. It excludes our $29 plan if you're on that. If you're on the $29 plan, we're giving it to you for free for 3 months. You can test it out, and if it makes you more money, you keep it. If not, you can just stay on the $29 plan. But for the most part, most of our customers on their all-in-one or our PMS only plans get this product included. Who here, just a show of hands or comment in the box, but who here has already seen the dynamic pricing tab appear on the Preno platform, and who has actually on top of that had a little play? I see a little thumb, I see a bunch of thumbs up, so that's a good sign. Cool. So best practices, before we jump into actually set it up, I'm just going to talk you through some best practices on what we've sort of learned in terms of making the most out of this product. So the first question most people ask when they go to set this up is, how much more money should I sort of be charging? So we sort of roughly, we suggest you aim for an extra 15 to 40% increase on your rates on your final booking. So, if you $100 a night, that goes to 115 or 140. I use that example just because it was easy in terms of maths. And obviously the next part is you've got to then take, okay, I'm going to increase my final rate of my property by $50, and then you want to break that down into smaller segments. So I gave an example here of $10, $15, and $25. And so the way it works and what we sort of suggest is you set it up where once I've got 4 rooms remaining, you increase it by X, a smaller percentage, a smaller amount. And then once I've got 2 rooms remaining, $12. And then when I've got 1 room remaining, increase it by the highest amount. We do have a help doc that sort of goes through this. And if you've got any questions, I'm not going to get too far into the weeds of this detail, but basically, if you have any questions around this, just ask us in chat, or you'll see there's a help doc. But basically what it comes down to is you need, as with all hotels, you need like an early bird rate, something for people who are just booking your property early. You need like a halfway, almost half of my rooms are sold. You need a sort of last rooms left rate. And then you need this is the last room. I'm going to make the most money out of it. And then one other thing to note is right now, this is based on each room in a room type, not based on all of your rooms and your property, although we will have an update coming later on, which will allow you to group rate types together to achieve something across your entire property. So now let's get into a demo, unless there's any other questions to quickly answer before I do. Cool. So the way it works, I'll just quickly show you how to get to it in case anyone's sort of wondering. So if you go to your rates view here, and then you click to dynamic pricing, you'll get an option here, and you'll see surge pricing, and then you can go create a rule. So that is the process for getting through to it. And then set them up. If you're confused on anything, Scotty, I know we've got a help doc that you have access to. Just go to a help and search for surge pricing, or ask in chat if you've got any other questions. But the way we have set it up at Preno for our demo account, so we've got our studio, and then we've basically said once you've got 2 rooms left, 2 rooms or fewer left, increasing it by $12. And so let me show you how this works. So if we go to rates and we go to September. So if you can see here on September the 25th, 26th, 27th, it's $100 per night. I'm just using this as an example because it's very easy to remember. So remember that $100 a night across 25th, 26th, 27th. And then if I go to my grid, and if I just go to the 25th, 26th, and if I create, I'm just going to create a booking here, and I'm just going to extend this out, and we'll just put a little name in here. Let's go Thomas. I'll put Thomas's deets in here, and we'll go add. We'll save this booking. Okay, so we've created a booking now, and then as you saw, in real time, these prices have now all adjusted to reflect the new occupancy rate. So you can see this one's gone up by $12, $15, $12, $12, etc. The other thing you'll notice, which I think is really cool, is this little purple triangle on this rate. And whenever you see a purple triangle, that signifies that Preno has made a rate adjustment. And so the next person making a booking will now come through and pay that new rate of $112. I mean, that's basically as simple as it gets. That's literally how it works. So again, if you want to go set it up, go to your rates, go to dynamic pricing, go create rule, and then you can create a series of rules. So for example, let's say you have a 10-room property and you've got one room type. So you might go, when I've got 5 rooms left, increase it by $7. When you've got 3 rooms left, and increase it by X, and so on and so forth. I mean, literally, that's how simple it is. And then you apply it to whichever room type you want and click save, and we're done. Now, any other questions before we jump on to something else that is even more exciting that is coming soon? So before we jump into what's coming soon, there's a couple questions. At the moment, it is based on an amount. So what we really do suggest you do, so just so you know, is we suggest you say, okay, I want my final room price to be $50 more. So you might say, on my last room, I want it to be $50 more. And here we go, I'll just use this as an example. So you might make your first adjustment $10, your next adjustment $15, and your final adjustment $25. And then adding those up, that adds to a full $50 on your final room. Cool. So coming soon, what is coming soon? So this is very exciting. I am sort of super excited by this because this first tool, surge pricing, is the first in sort of a suite of products that we've got coming out. And so you'll see them coming out quite quickly afterwards. So the next tool we have coming is last minute pricing. And this will be huge because oftentimes it'll be random when you don't, when there's a day in the week where you actually don't have any bookings, we've got 1 or 2. And sometimes, when you've got only 1 or 2 bookings, that can kind of make your business a little bit inefficient. And sometimes it's better to have, a couple more bookings than to just leave them sitting there doing nothing. And so what Preno will do is whenever you have a room or day where you've got low occupancy, we'll start lowering the price of your rooms just a little, just to see if we can get you more bookings. Because sometimes, getting a 15% or 10% or $5 cheaper room, but at least you're getting an extra stay, is totally worth it. And so it's kind of the reverse of our surge pricing. And then on top of that, there's a couple of other things that I'm not going to talk about today that are coming as part of these features for dynamic pricing. So that's it. I mean, we're quick with this, but I'm going to stay on for a little bit longer. There'll be people in the chat helping out, but I really do encourage you to go set it up now, because the faster you do, the more money you will make. It's very straightforward. Honestly, you're absolutely right. It is very straightforward to set up. So that's one of the things, that's why you chose Preno. It's simple and easy to use. It's sort of no-brainer, really. So literally, we have a goal internally to try and get as many of you setting up and using this today. So if you want any help right now setting it up, or recommendations, or if you want to set it up now yourself and you want someone at Preno to have a quick look at it, we're more than happy to have a quick look at it, as long as you set it up now and send us through a quick message to have a look. Thanks for joining, team. Thanks for joining. So we'll be over on live chat on our website if you have any other questions to ask about this. Otherwise, as I say, set up your dynamic pricing now, set up some rules, and then send it through to us and ask us to have a quick look at it, and then get going. Because literally, I'm just going to go back to the case studies. Literally, within the first 2 weeks, it was making 200 adjustments, which is pretty crazy, over in Kumukata. And then Hotel DC, 650 adjustments. So the faster you can actually start using this, and the faster you can start seeing a little bit more money coming in. So, spend 5 minutes, set it up, and then send us a little note, and we can check it over it if you want any help. But yeah, anyways, thank you, team. Thanks. Thank you. Ka kite.